So, it's been a couple days with Outer Worlds, and I kind of wanted to do a follow up on the expectations that I had done earlier, and I'm gonna try not to this bright shining sun from the lamp behind me. I'm gonna try and keep my head in front of that. But basically, I'm going to yeah, just go over some of the points. Not as many of them, just because some of them aren't necessarily worth mentioning again. So, of course, the first one was about the way that Obsidian kind of lets you mess with the story that they're choosing to tell. That's totally the case with this game too. Now I played it straight through the way that I wanted to and actually beat it, which is the first time I've beaten an Obsidian game in like 2 days, uh, ever since I've been playing them, I think. And but that's a good thing. Um, yeah, and almost immediately after I started a new game, and tried to find the other path, and now I expedited that through fighting a lot of people you're not supposed to fight necessarily, and that actually sped up the game a lot, and it really seemed like it was a new story being told, and so that was really good actually. I appreciated it. They had a lot of different things to sort of what's the word? A lot of fail safes on any given quest. So if you were to mess something like that up, or you know, get rid of a character that you weren't supposed to get rid of for a quest, they have a new one right away. That was really good. So then the second thing was about gameplay. So that was actually, I was very surprised and impressed and happy at how smooth I thought everything was. Um, I just generally found I the first game was all with guns, and then the second one was melee, and so I actually found the slowdown time thing a lot more useful when I was swinging like some sort of thing around, and so I liked that. What I probably should have done was actually focused on one type of weapon for any given character, and then have a bunch of lineups and modded weapons of that exact same style to better face at the enemies you're going for. I actually thought that that worked out very well. When it came to the slowdown thing, it's definitely not a replacement for VATS. I actually kind of found myself missing the time to take a breath, but it did stay exciting, and I really liked the way that if you're going to or when they're explaining why it's happening to you, or that it's happening, the way that it's included the game is basically just people go, huh, that's weird, so have fun. And I actually appreciated that a lot. um, so then the fourth thing I mentioned that was about the bugs in the game. um, there were not many bugs at all. I really appreciated that. Naturally, I'm sure you can imagine. And I think that maybe I'd run into a couple of them, like just a few bugs here and there. And only one really stood out, and that's that. So one of my companions died, and then I couldn't complete her quests, and it was really kind of too bad because also I missed out on that sweet, sweet ending slide, and that's kind of the thing that I live for, especially when I play games like these. I'd have to say that. Oh, well, the thing that was so weird about that is that I was not playing on supernova difficulty, and so your companions aren't supposed to die. She was still on the ship asking if she could talk, but whenever you'd try to talk to her, nothing would come up, and that was really a drag. I was looking to see the end of that one. I did most of the other, I think all of the other companion quests that I could have. I think there's one companion you can't finish their quest, so I did all the other ones, but I couldn't do hers. And yeah, it was really a shame because I liked that character, and that's actually that's something that's going to come up later. Basically, I like the companions. So the fifth thing is that I said that they might be throwing some shots at Bethesda, And they actually don't, which I suppose is a good thing, and it shows a certain amount of maturity on their part. Um, what I what I saw more often was just sort of meta commentary on the state of RPGs today. Anyway, in fact, at a certain point, you and one character can kind of what's the word, commiserate about people telling you to do stuff and you not wanting to do it. But I also really feel like that's a cop out in games like this. Like it was, all the quests were fairly interesting, but this wasn't The Witcher 3 in terms of sheer storytelling in a given quest, I suppose. Um, I need to look into exactly what I'm saying, but also, like, nobody is really expected to see this. I'm mostly just doing this to get my face out on the internet and get used to that. So, but that's another thing too, is that you will tend to lean into your playstyle, and it will give you so many options to complete quests. But once you're used to once you're really in on your playstyle, you kind of come to see and expect how a quest is going to turn out. So I really felt like, I really felt like that was going to, oh God, what am I trying to say? Basically, you have a vision of how the quests are going to unfold based on all the other previous quests that you've done. And so that was okay. That's one minor complaint, but what are you going to do? If you've made a character that's going to be good at talking about stuff, there's not a lot of wrenches that they can throw at you. And they did. At some points, it's probably not best to play according to your playstyle. It's better to understand the situation that you're in and what you're trying to say to the characters. That's what I felt like. So then the seventh and eighth thing, I actually kind of started to combine a corporate and murder playthrough. In my previous thing, I said that I probably wouldn't have felt like that or actually doing them, but I started it, and wow, that one, I was really zipping through that one last night. Um, I'm mentioning number 11. There weren't any books. I didn't really expect books. I just wanted them. Uh, I'm just mentioning it now because early on, one of the companions, the second person that you meet, is actually asked you to get a book for them, and I was like, okay, I was laughing. Uh, and later, another character complains about how people don't read anymore, and I agree. So let's see. Yeah, then the companions. I found all the companions pretty charming. Um, and I had a lot of fun navigating their motivations. Specifically, not all your companions are going to agree with you all the time. I thought that that was really good. But of course, at the end, everyone was on board with kind of the vision that my character had in mind, and so I thought that was good. Yeah, I felt like you'd kind of earned a friendship with the various characters when you spent some time with them and you've been trucking them around and talking about stuff with them and seeing them talk to each other. I think maybe my undead companion did did maybe mess up some of the scenarios that can happen on the ship, because I just felt like I was seeing the same ones over and over from her specifically. Normally, they'll all be standing the same way, but they'll be saying something different. Anyway, let's see. So here's some corrections for 13. So I hope you don't mind staring at the side of my face, because I'm going to read some of these specifically. The first thing is to correct one of my ideas for the DLC, was that I wanted one where you owned a TV station. What I meant to say was an Aetherwave station. So yeah, that's important. Now the next one was, so I had an epilogue idea, but the game is just too packed with choices. The spaces are kind of too small and intricate to really do that idea the way that I was envisioning things. I guess we're gonna stick to like right here. All right, and then so instead of my idea, which is that some folks from Old Earth show up and they're very sort of Iron Heel, fascist, authoritarian, with still kind of that capitalist mindset, but kind of, the kid gloves are off. Instead of that, I was thinking I'd think a new kind of hidden factions, like something that can exist alongside the game as we play. And this faction is kind of a worship historian kind of thing that's specifically focused on Old Earth and the way that they perceived Old Earth to be. And none of the other factions particularly like them, but you as the player have the opportunity to kind of shift their ideologies, probably to suit your own. But I don't really have more to say beyond that. I think when it comes to creativity, there's a reason I play Obsidian games and don't write for them. So yeah, let's see. For 14, I loved the ending slides. I was so glad that we had those ending slides, and I really want more. I'm a real sucker for ending slides. I'd eat them by the handful if I could, but they exist on the computer in games, so I can't actually physically hold them and then put them in my mouth and eat them, oddly enough. So 15. Oh, hey, speaking of foods, I was very grossed out by the foods, which was great, but what I liked most of all was the way it was, it's weaved into the narrative itself. It's not just a throwaway joke, which is what I thought it was gonna be. Like, oh, okay, the tumors that grow in the boars, those are so gross, and then people eat them. Ew. No, it's actually fairly interesting. The way that food, well, of course it would be important on a space colony, and they really focused on that. I liked it. So 16, I kind of said that I felt like there was probably going to be a point where maybe they'd kind of let the player go a little bit and you'd maybe have to find your own way. That never actually happened. It's a fairly direct line from beginning to end. You have so many options in how you want to get it done, where you want to go at any given point, which quests you want to do, but they're always there and they're always very clear. And then I kind of front loaded my game, so there was also a real momentum at the end of the game, and I appreciated that a lot. Last of all, I'm just gonna skip straight to my 20th point. Yeah, I liked it. I ended up liking it a lot. I thought about getting right back to it. I think I'm gonna give it a day. Like, I didn't play it all today because I played the past 2 days straight, and I was, I'm ready to just watch YouTube videos and be calm about it. Relax. That's what I mean. And clean my room. Not much. It's still kind of dirty. Well, you know, got some floor visible in here. But then I had fun with both playthroughs too, which is very important. Like I've been saying, I've stuck with. I play New Vegas the exact same way every time, and I just can over and over. But with this one, for whatever reason, I'm really interested in kind of exploring the different ins and outs of the game. So, yeah, anyway, this is my other video, and, oh, yeah, I'm Juro. I guess I should do an introduction or something. Is that a YouTube-y thing? Thing is, I don't know. If I get a single view on either of these videos, I'd actually be extremely shocked because, like I said earlier, that's kind of not the point right now. Anyway, yeah, that's this. Oh, I got a message. Okay, well, I gotta check that. Bye.